Hola, hola, hello, hello, ¿cómo están amigos, amigas? Bienvenidos, welcome once again to Lima, Peru. Welcome to my home and also to another session dedicated to, well, Peru, dedicated to unveiling, discovering together different destinations, different sites in this beautiful country that are, well, most of them completely unknown or to the eye of the, well, the Europeans or the North Americans, let's say, or anyone who is not really like used to seeing, visiting this country. So Peruvians, we are very proud of our heritage. We are very proud of these touristic destinations I'm sharing with you in each episode. But we are very well aware that we need a little bit of impulse in the exterior, in the outside of this country, to well, to have the chance of also receiving more visitors. With our about 4 million visitors that we are receiving in this moment yearly in Peru. We're still very, very distant, very far away from other important destinations, not just in the world, in Latin America, for example, Mexico, and several other countries, Brazil, Argentina, which are way ahead of us. And I'm very sure as a tour guide that we have, well, a great let's say product here in this country. So well, in this series I try to show you different destinations, different sites in Peru, and now we are dedicating this series to Arequipa. Hola Natalie, querida, ¿cómo estás? Hola, hola. Well, I hope you can hear me clear, loud and clear. And also, well, in a moment, you will be able to see the images I want to project and share with you all. There will be several images also. And in today's occasion, we will be talking about history, pre-Hispanic history, and a little bit of colonial history of Arequipa, which is also a very, very important part of the country in terms of, well, production, agriculture, also mining, fishing. It has also a considerably big population, and also a population that is very proud of their Arequipeño identity. So, muy bien. Gracias, Natalie. Thanks for the thumbs up. And that also gives me now, well, the certainty that we can now continue with our event. Okay, so well, as I said before, this is a part of a series that I started several weeks ago about, well, destinations in Peru. This time, of course, we are talking about Arequipa, but in previous sessions, I've talked about Cusco, Lima, Ica, and now this is the second part of the Arequipa, let's say, a chapter. No, if you wish to also see the previous videos I've done, they were all done in a live format, also recorded from my live sessions here on YouTube. Well, there is of course a form to do that. I keep them all in Patreon. So if you subscribe to my Patreon page, there are different tiers from starting $2, $5, $10, and $20. In any case, any tier receives the same, also because I understand that not everybody has the same economy also to support content like this one. But if you become a subscriber, you have, well, the full gallery of my events open to you all. Muy bien. So, well, in this second part dedicated to Arequipa, we will talk about history. We will talk about, well, the ancient history of this part of the country. And Peru is well known as a rich archaeological land, land in rich in archaeology, in pre-Hispanic, let's say, constructions, architecture, culture, languages, religion, and most people don't have really an idea how big Peru is. Peru is the 20th largest country in the world and the third largest country in South America. Sometimes, like, people have this impression that countries in South America are small, and no, we are a big country. And one element that also makes us very diverse as a country, as a terrain, is the presence of the Andes. We have, like, the Andes as the number one element that creates different realities and elevations and climates and microclimates in the country. And another element will be our closeness to the ocean, to the Pacific. And additionally, well, being also right next to the jungle, to the rainforest, we have also a part of the Amazon rainforest. So, well, we are a multi-diverse territory. We have several microclimates, as I said before. And in the pre-Hispanic times, in the ancient times, in the times of the hunters and gatherers, this reality also allow them to, first of all, well, adapt little by little to these contrasting situations in the coast, the desert. There were some valleys also in the coast, in the Andes. Also, well, these flats that were at the foot or at the feet of the mountains, with also abundance of llamas, alpacas, and several animals that are adapted to those elevations. Um, Basically, well, the original ancestors of these creatures were the vicuñas and guanacos, which in some of these ancient paintings that you can see in caves in Peru also are depicted. And, well, starting with the most ancient history of Arequipa, we have, for example, an archaeological site or a cave, where there are beautiful paintings named Sumbay. The caves of Sumbay are located also in a natural reserve, Salinas and Aguada Blanca, which is basically behind the Misty volcano. Volcano Misty is the most important, let's say, like, signature element of the city of Arequipa. So behind, let's say, that volcano, there is a protected area, and in that protected section is located, well, this cave. So what you can see here, this evidence of human presence dating back more or less 8,000 years ago in average, because there was a very long, let's say, permanence of usage of that cave. There are interesting elements carved, like images carved in this cave. Like, for example, in the image you see on the upper part, on the left upper part, is a group of, well, llamas. And, well, this was the economy basically of that time. Hunters that live in this location, they depended on, of course, obtaining the meat from these creatures, from these animals, and they were so important that they carved them also in their little homes, which were not permanent homes because they were constantly moving also in that location. Or around that location seasonally. And also, something I find very, very curious is the presence of that little creature that is behind the llama. There's one llama that is separated from the others, right? And there's a little creature, and that creature is a puma, according to the the investigations of the specialist. That is a puma that is, like, about to probably catch this llama. And also we have a person dressed up as, well, the way how it's believed these hunters and gatherers also dressed up in such climatic conditions. No, so this location is very high. It's over 4,000 meters above sea level. That's over 13,000 feet above sea level. In that elevation, also the air is thinner. Now the oxygen is less than in the sea level. And the climate at nighttime can be very cold. We're talking about like minus, let's say, 5, 6, even 10 degrees Celsius in an average temperature at nighttime there. Also, the caves offer, of course, this space of warmth for these people. So then we continue. We're going to do a gigantic jump in history, in the history of, well, the ancient Peru, and also how this influenced, the department of Arequipa, and in particular the city of Arequipa, the area we will be more focused about, no? Because in my series dedicated to Arequipa, I will be mainly focusing in the city of Arequipa, but Arequipa city is inside a department called Arequipa, which is the one actually you see in this map, in the low part of the map of Peru. This is the political map of Peru. There is a department named Arequipa. And also the red dot shows where the city of Arequipa is located, which is in the south of the department. But the reason why I'm not highlighting the department, instead, I'm highlighting another section, which is the department of Ayacucho, is because Ayacucho is the place of birth of one of the most important societies of Peru's pre-Hispanic history, a society that was at some point so powerful that, according to some specialists, was an empire. Like, this is completely debatable, and there are many specialists, many archaeologists who don't accept the idea that this was an empire, but it's the same amount of people accepting and also debating this theory in Peru. So what we can say at the end, let's say, and trying to put in consensus and in union all of the beliefs about, or the visions about this society, the Wari society, which is the name of this culture, had very, very big influence in a big territory of the country. So as I said before, Ayacucho is the birthplace of this society, and they emerged around the year 600 of our era, of Commons era, or Christian era. And well, from that location, they started to expand. They expand in different directions. So they reach the capital, Lima. They even reach out the north coast of Peru also. They reach out Cusco, by the way, and of course, Arequipa. They were creators of a trail system that later on the Incas took, and nowadays we call Inca Trail, or Capac-Ñan. That's another way of calling it. But the Inca Trail, sometimes we attribute to the Incas everything, all the grandiosity of the past. The reality is that indeed the Incas used the trail and improve it and enlarge it also, because they could handle the people to do so. By the orders of the Inca king, like, thousands of people could go immediately to build a trail. But the initial trails that were later used by the Incas were built during the times of the Waris. The sophistication of the Wari people is really amazing. And in Arequipa, there are also interesting evidences of the presence of the Waris. Well, sadly, the Wari society, as many other pre-Hispanic societies, and even, like, to be more clear, pre-Incan societies, they had many temples and many cities built. But as usual, like, when a city works, for example, for a society, and this happens also This happened in different parts of the world. So these cities continue in use when another group takes the lead of that society. No, so for example, many cities that now we say they were Incan cities, they were used before by other societies. In this case, well, by the Waris. No, so that's why we don't see like cities like our Wari that everywhere, because most likely those Wari cities continue in use later and were transformed and were then reestablished later as Incas, or well, at least the evidences, the archaeological evidences correspond to the Incas and no longer to the previous ones, to the previous one, in this case, Wari. So, well, I hope that that makes also clear why we don't have, like everywhere in the country, like Wari cities, if they were so important. Well, we have them. We probably are living, most of us, like people from the big cities, over, well, the leftovers or the foundations of those ancient civilizations. But there are interesting evidences in the zone where close to the city of Arequipa, or relatively near the city of Arequipa, where the Waris also rule. No? There are, for example, some cities in bad state. One of them is Huacan, which in the first picture on the upper left-hand side, you can see the foundations of these constructions. This is the sad state many archaeological sites are now having. And well, the cities that were not like continued like in use during the times of the Incas, and later on the Spaniards didn't continue using on top, well, those cities were abandoned. Many of them actually were left because of this process of evangelization by the Spaniards. So the Spaniards, thinking that, well, some of these cities maybe were like linked to cults, to forms of faith and rituals that were illicit, that were diabolic in their perspective. Also, they push people to abandon those places. And later on, when the evangelization was completely done and finalized in the minds of the indigenous, many of these indigenous also later, well, in some cases, even contributed to the destruction of many of these sites. So, well, we have examples of this Wari state in Arequipa, and also the rest of the pictures correspond to these drawings, these geoglyphs or petroglyphs. In this case, would be petroglyphs because they are drawings on stone that also are related with the Waris. And something I find also interesting here is the fact that, like when we see, for example, these creatures, like there's seems like a puma on the top picture, and in the bottom picture there are some creatures that are a little bit hard to know, like what they are, if they are like foxes or pumas. We have some sort of like look like parrot-like birds. We have llamas also on the other extreme. Also, what is very curious is that Wari society seems that they took borrow this tradition of like carving over rock or making like drawings on like a big like spaces from the Nazcas, which was one of the civilizations that in a way melted with another one, Huarpa society in the Andes. They melted, they sort of like united, and they created finally, well, this Wari, let's say, culture, religion. So it seems that that was an element that they took from those Nazcas. And if you want to know more about the Nazcas, I have videos about the Nazcas here in my YouTube channel. And I also mentioned the Nazcas also in my previous series about Ica that you can see on Patreon. So, well, we have another interesting site corresponding to Arequipa. There are several cultures, also pre-Hispanic cultures associated to this region, but I couldn't really talk about each one of them. Instead, I decided to pick some that are interesting, that I find will be more interesting to you all, and also, well, places that either I know or I would like to go to see. And Churajón is one of those places, and it really traps my attention also. First of all, well, its location, its elevation is also like in the back of this group of volcanoes that see the city of Arequipa. Volcanoes are such an important element, landmark, and also I, I, I can say like deities, no, to these pre-Hispanic societies, as important as well how they are seen nowadays by the people of Arequipa. Volcanoes are part of their life, no. If you are standing in Arequipa in the main square or anywhere in Arequipa, because Arequipa keeps also its traditional architecture. There are no tall buildings or high like towers there. So from wherever you are in this beautiful Campiña or valley, you see the volcanoes, you see the Pichu Pichu, you see the Misti, well, the Chachani, so which are the three guardians of the city. And well, this is part of the character of the Arequipeños and the city of Arequipa. And well, Churajón, as I was saying, is part of a kingdom that existed before the arrival of the conquistadors, a kingdom that it's believed, because it's usually referred to as a señorío, no, reino as well, kingdom. Of a society that later on seems that was absorbed by the Incans, by the Inca state. So they were worshippers of, well, the sun. There is in a section inside this archaeological site built by this society, there is a stone, like you see that one in the picture, that we call, well, in let's say the archaeological slang also, huanca. A huanca is a stone, a ritual like landmark that also connects the people with the deities, no? A place where worshiping happens. And well, the site, as you can see, is not in very good shape. Places like this one also were later abandoned after especially the arrival of the conquistadors, the introduction of the religion, of the Catholic religion, and the little by little abandonment of the old ways. So that's the number one reason why a site like this one is in such bad state. But also, people continued in a way, especially the men and women from that were dedicated to the agriculture, from the fields, the ones that were still in contact with nature, with Mother Earth. They continued also sort of like connected with that identity, with that worshiping identity. And there are still traditions alive here, in not just in Arequipa, everywhere in the country, that in a way also keep bringing to these places people, like in the wish of pay respects to the gods. And why I'm saying this is because, for example, there are evidences every once in a while in this site, especially over that stone you see over there, of people like putting or like pouring like chicha, this drink that is made from corn, pre-Hispanic drink, in a form or way to use it as sort of like to toast with the gods. So people like pouring drinks over there, trying to practice a form of payment to Mother Earth. There have been also other liquids discovered there, even including all other that are like blood style liquids that the archaeologists have been able to find every once in a while, because places like this one don't have permanent protection. So they are so isolated. They don't have a guard every day there. So that's also of concern, because even though like you can see it as just like a practice, no, and we have to be respectful. Well, the stone is damaged thanks to all of those liquids that are being poured over it. So there are some fragmented pieces that are starting to appear due to the liquids also being poured over it. But this site is definitely considered still until these days sacred. So let's continue to the next, let's say, group, the next society. Actually, we will talk about two societies which are very important, and they are not from, well, the valley of Chile River, which is where the city of Arequipa is located. Instead, we're moving a little bit far away to the valley of Colca. Colca River also for millions of years has carved the Andes, and well, created also the deepest canyon in the world is how we call it. Later, in the future, I will tell you more about this touristic destination as an attraction also. But in that location is where also there are societies that still live this, let's say, they practice this culture, that dates back to their ancestors from before the time of the conquest. And of course, they have elements in their culture that were introduced by the Spaniards, like Western, let's say, elements, no, that they were forced to embrace, and now they are, of course, part of themselves, of their identity. But also there are lots of elements that go back to pre-Hispanic times also with them. So we're talking about the Cabana and the Collagua groups. These two groups are very interesting, like to investigation, especially for anthropologists, and also for archaeologists. Something interesting about them is that this group of people practice, or these two groups, because we're talking about two groups of people, practice the skull deformation or modification. And they lived in a valley. No? There was a sort of like a limit between these two communities, and that limit was around the town of Yanque. That's sort of like in the mid, like valley section. No? So one group lived on one side of the valley, and the other group lived on the other side of the valley. No? And one group, for example, the group Collagua, which actually in these two different deformations that you see over there, is the group that has this longer skull deformation, right? Like more pointy. We know now that the Coyaguas, their origin is in the high plateau, like let's say around the Titicaca Lake area. So they come from that direction, from that location, and they spoke Aymara. Aymara is one of the 40 languages we have in Peru that we still also use. Some languages are more spoken than others. Aymara is definitely one of the most spoken languages, but the most spoken language is Quechua, and that's the language the other group, the other, let's say, people used, the Cabana. And the Cabanas also practice as also a way of differentiation from the other groups. They practice this other form, or let's say reshaping of skull that looks more like a heart style head. Well, these modifications are irreversible. They were done when these people were children, were babies actually. It just can be done in the first year of life. That's the time when the head is very malleable, and well, it was possibly done with either like putting like like wooden pieces, like to tidying them around the skull, or using some form of like cords and fabrics tidying the skull. So in that way, we're putting pressure in certain sections, but it had to be a very, very mild pressure. So in that way, well, you will not inflict like harm in the skull. Okay, and well, these societies that live in the Colca Valley, they were fully adapted to the environment, to these elevations, to these cliffs also. And they even built tombs on the cliffs. So, for example, these are the tombs of Chiminea. And these tombs, as you can see, well, you don't really notice them from at, let's say, first sight. You have to like give a careful look, and there you're going to see, well, that they are like natural holes, or depressions in the rock, that were used to create little chambers, and rooms where the mummies of this society would be like placed. No, in this case, this one belongs to the Collagua group. So we have also other interesting archaeological sites in this location in Arequipa. We continue in the Colca Valley. This is the archaeological site of Uyo Uyo. So archaeological sites like this one, for example, are in process of restoration, and there has not been done like big investigation yet on sites like this one. But for example, we know that, well, during the times of the Incas, there was also an Incan presence in this location. But later on, well, after the arrival of the conquistadors, well, towns like this one were completely abandoned. Many of these towns even had, for example, like little chapels or little churches, but later on, people started to move to other towns, to other locations that were fully controlled by the Spaniards. So that's how these places, they ended up being at the end completely abandoned. And well, what happens is later on, the only way the indigenous like use this terrain was for agricultural purposes. Also, because these sites already had terraces, and well, the terraces used in the pre-Hispanic times were really made to last forever. I'll explain a bit more about those terraces in a moment, but also give a look to this place. This is another site, is the fortress of Chimba. So Chimba Fortress is also located in a sort of like a mountain, a piece of mountain that has the best view 360 of the valley. It also is very, very curious, no? Because this is also another site I would like to see in person. I know from it also from reading and from informing myself and from videos as well. And this fortress, it has just one entrance, which is very narrow. It's like a corridor, or like roofed corridor, and only one, maybe max two person can go across that corridor. And well, on the other side of the corridor, if you were an enemy, like you would immediately be like beat and hit and killed, of course, or like if you were penetrating into that side of fortress. So that was done like in a excellent way to preserve the fortress. So in that way, well, the lines that will have to be break into just one, and you could also get rid of that intruder easily. So well, the view from here, as I said before, is fantastic. And also you can see in the distance these terraces. So societies that live in the Andes, and in particular in this part in the Colca Valley, they built excellent terraces which are still in use. Many of them are used by the communities. And these terraces were made also with technologies that were in a way simple, but you need really to do lots of trial and error to understand how to build those. For example, the inclinations of the terraces are between 5 degrees and 15 degrees. And that also ensures that there will not be avalanches. There will not be, because there are earthquakes all the time in this location. The wall, if it was too straight, it could just eventually fall down. No? So it had to be inclined a bit, and inside that sort of like wall of stone, there were like different types of earth, like qualities of earth also, gravel, no, and the earth like for like prepare for agriculture, the one with fertilizers, for example, and on top. So that allowed also a evacuation of the water from the rains that also happen in this place in a more effective way. No? So well, this is part of the ingenious adaptation of these societies of the valley. And I would like to tell you a bit about how they are nowadays, how these people, these cabanas and these collaguas, have also like embraced their indigenous identity, but as well also the new identity given by the Spaniards, no, by the conquistadors, forced into them. So the first thing that I have to tell you about, well, the transformations that this society had is the fact that, well, they didn't have any more like permission of practicing school deformations after the arrival of the Spaniards. And to be more precise, after the arrival to Peru of Viceroy Toledo, one of the most important viceroys of our history. He fought like he was first line fighting the religions of the indigenous. He partook of this process of extirpation of idolatries, and that's the reason why, well, Toledo also is seen as a symbol of this transformation process. They're very in depth. He also persecuted, well, the worshiping to idols and so on. So, well, after the arrival of Viceroy Toledo, it was no longer allowed for anyone to practice skull modifications. So that's why you don't see any more people with those modifications. And that's how we know that those were not born with. They were done intentionally, no, like at birth, no, after birth, no. So well, these are two beautiful ladies. One is a Cabana lady, and the other one is a Collagua. So Collaguas are from the higher parts of the let's say the valley or the river Colca or the canyon Colca, and from the lower sections are the Cabanas. One tradition is Aymara, the other one is Quechua, for example. Well, so nowadays, well, physically, no, they don't look really much different. Like in terms, they are both beautiful women. They are not big like differences in terms of their skin color, their hair color. But what differentiates them is, for example, the fashion. And well, they do have beautiful like embroidered skirts, which are usually, many women usually dress three skirts, and they also lift like the top one, no, like in a very nice manner, in a very nice way, to show also, to display the embroidery of the one below. But I think the element that is more easy for us to see, like when we can perceive like right away the origin of these women, if they are collaguas, if they are cabanas, no, is the huts. Okay, so the hats of the cabanas are fully embroidered, all of it, no? And also they have this very nice way of like putting the hat on. The back is lifted, no, and the front is a little bit like coming down, like to cover your eyes from the sun, to give some shade to the eyes. And the style of the Collagua ladies, women, is like this, no? So it's white in the bottom part, like without any embroidery, and the embroidery only goes in the top section of the hat. Well, so that is the way to differentiate them. And it's so curious because the biggest element of differentiation is still is in the head. Mm? So it's this is the part that makes them look different, no? Like in the past. And also, if you go to Arequipa, well, we still can see also this beautiful tradition of embroidery, which definitely comes from the pre-Hispanic times, and they embroider like the elements of nature, like things that are around them, like birds in this case. This might be more like a hummingbird to me, but there's no really explanation in the picture. It's just beautiful piece embroidered, part of the skirt also. And well, we have also some other pretty creatures, like that looks like a rabbit to me. Some hummingbirds also, some flowers. And this one here, well, do you remember the world pandemic? Well, the artisans from Colca, they adapted, fully adapted, no, to, well, the situation, and well, they needed to like sort of like subsist also. So well, what they did was creating these embroidered face masks. No? So I still have a couple of them from that time. I hope we never use them again, but I have them. So well, this is a bit of, well, the art in Colca. And also one last thing, and is related also with the, well, nowadays communities of well, this location, is a dance that it has a very, very curious story. The dance is called the Huititi. And it's definitely, in my opinion, the most romantic dance, that a folkloric romantic dance we have. We have many, many good ones, many good folkloric dances, which, by the way, I remember I have my list of upcoming events and well, titles that you have requested. So don't be shy. Also, you can send me messages about what upcoming events you would like me to do. Well, I love to receive those. So well, this one, as I said before, is a very romantic dance, and the Wititi consists in, well, a dance in which, of course, men and women, they participate. But well, this is the way how men and women dressed up for the dance. And like from at first sight, like when when people see the dancers, they say like, Vanessa, they are both women, right? Like, no, 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 no. One is a beautiful young woman, as you see, the one on the left, and the other one is a man who is dressed up as a woman. Hmm? So, oh, yes, Natalie, I will definitely go back to my Spanish lessons. I will definitely do that. See, I know I have it also in my list. I have Spanish lessons. Gracias, gracias for also your message and your solicitude, my dear. So, well, this man that you see on the right hand side is dressed up with a skirt. Okay, so there are some things to be noted first, no, to understand, like why this man is dressing like a woman. So the story, the tradition says that the Wititi is a dance of lovers, no, and the origin of this dance is that, well, in one occasion, one time, long time ago, a man was completely in love with a woman, but the family didn't allow this woman to be with him. Okay, so and people in the Andes, we are very festive. We are always partying, no. So in one celebration of the town, um, in order to be able to get close to his beloved, this man dressed up as a woman. Okay, so he put the skirt of a woman. He tried to, like, use a hat that covered his face. No, and he got close to that woman, and he was able to take her away. No, and they escaped together. Okay, so that is the story of the origin of this Wititi dance. So the man mimics or dressed up a woman, like a woman. But there are evident differences, no? So number one, like in the case of this lady, no? So this is, by the way, a Cabana hat, as you can see, all embroidered, right? So you can see also the different parts, like the blouse, also the vest on top, beautifully like all like embroidered too. And this lady has 3 skirts. Okay, there are 3 skirts, polleras skirts. Now, the difference with the men is that the man only uses 2 skirts. Mm-hmm. And also, instead of a blouse, the man uses like a military, let's say, jacket. It's a military white jacket. And also, he carries sort of like these bags that what they are supposed to carry, like munitions, for example, because this is also related with the old times of war, no, and defense, no, of the nation. And also, well, it could be all the things that could be carried there, no. And the hat also has this sort of like fringes, I think you will call it. I'm not very sure the name in English, but these elements here that are covering sort of like the eyes and the identity of these men. Mm-hmm. So this is the Huititi dance, the dance of love. And well, so we talk about these pre-Incan societies that also continued existing during the times of the Incas. Don't take me wrong, the Incas didn't like destroy them, kill them, no, evangelize them. No, not really. The Incas didn't behave like that. They didn't really care much on, on the religions of the other societies they were absorbing as part of the empire. They wanted them to work on their behalf, to be taxed, and also to allow them to build temples for the sun, temples to the sun, which was the most important deity for the Incas. There was, of course, like a sort of like a control system. No, the Incas were on top now of them. They didn't have autonomy on decision, but there was not intention of changing their ways for the ones of the Incas. And that's also how the Incas were able to be expanded so fast in such a short time. In about 100 years, they were able to reach out where a territory that nowadays is equivalent to 2.5 million square kilometers. So Peru nowadays has 1.2 million square kilometers. So it's like huge, like over 2 times the size of Peru. And they cover like a lot. But when the Spaniards came, they were also in a difficult time. The Incas were having a civil war. There were 2 Incas fighting for the crown. So, well, the legend says that Arequipa has not just one foundation time, 2 foundations. One was an Incan foundation and the other one was an Spanish foundation. Well, the Incan foundation is completely debatable, okay? Like it's not like something taken like for sure, like that was the date when Arequipa was founded by the Incas. No. It's more like a legend, it's more like a myth. And the first account that mentions this Incan foundation of Arequipa was made by Inca Garcilaso de la Vega, one of the most important Peruvian writers. He's considered the first mestizo of our history. Mestizo means someone that is mixed blood, Incan, Spanish. So Garcilaso de la Vega was a very well-educated, very noble man, noble from both sides, from his father's side and his mother's side, because his mother was an Incan princess. And well, this man lived most of his life in Spain, even though he was born here in Peru, in Cusco. He spoke Quechua, and his lineage from his mother's side were direct descendants of Huáscar. Huáscar was one of the kings who was trying to, was fighting his brother to become like the absolute monarch of the empire. But that happened at the time of the Spaniards' arrival, so their plans were stopped. So according to the legend that Inca Garcilaso de la Vega puts in his book known as the Royal Commentaries of the Incas, there are translations into English if you wish to also find that book online. He says that Inca Maita Capac, he was, I think, the 5th Inca, so far I remember. So let's say in the 12th century, the 1100s, came to this location in one occasion, right? He was here in this location in Arequipa. And well, the people that accompanied him asked him, begged him to stay there, okay, because the location was so beautiful, because of the valley, like the Chile river, the valley of the Chile river, like the volcanoes behind that look so beautiful. So the answer of the Inca king was Ari Kepai, which means yes, stay, or yes, you can stay. Okay, Arequipa. And that is supposed to be the origin of the name of the city, Arequipa, Arequipa. There are other interpretations, but this one is, I think, the most famous. And now, well, let's debate a little bit of that, let's say, that theory or that legend also, that, of course, in a good-hearted way, our writer also like shared with us for posterity in his book. But it's believed that Maita Capac, he never, ever left Cusco, first of all. The time when Inca Maita Capac ruled, he was one of the 14 Incas of our history. Well, the Incas never really left like that territory that is Cusco, no, or and the vicinity of that location. So that is not really possible. Well, that's the people who are experts, they say this. And also, well, the moment when this territory, Arequipa, was finally annexed to the Inca Empire was definitely at the time of either Pachacutec Inca, or the first emperor, really, of the Inca culture, or the time of his son, Tupac Yupanqui. So that is in the 15th century, early or mid 15th century, 1400s. But the story is so interesting and so fun, and everybody loves it. And also, well, it's part of one of the legends of this location of Arequipa. Arequipa, yes, stay. So, as I was saying, also, well, the Incas, well, like expanded their territory so fast, way too soon, and they divided this territory that they conquered, this so-called Tawantinsuyo, or the Empire of the Four Parts. Tawa means four in Quechua, number four, and Suyu means parts. So Tawantinsuyo means the country of the four parts, right? And this location, Arequipa, was so important. I mean, not necessarily they call it Arequipa, no, but this region where Arequipa is located was so important to the Incas that one of these four parts that you can see also in the map on the right, the parts were called Chinchaysuyo, Antisuyo, Coyasuyo, and Contisuyo. So the part that corresponds to Contisuyo was basically the territory of Arequipa. And Contisuyo is actually a small territory in comparison to the rest. No, it's not like all of the parts were similar. And each of these parts had their own characteristics. So Contisuyo was the territory of Arequipa. And even since that time, Arequipa had certain level of like independence from the rest of the parts of this territory. So what Contisuyo means, it's not very clear. Like Contisuyo could be like a Conti related with the location where the sun sets, the western side. And also I even hear that Contisuyo could be related with the word condor, or condor, the bird, the biggest bird that flies in the world. And this is also a land of condors in the Colca Valley. That one of the highlights of going to that place is seeing the condors fly. And the Incas also have an important history related with let's say, this site, and especially the nearby mountains, and well, practices they did that are of course nowadays not celebrated, and they were no longer continued after the arrival of the Spaniards. So these practices were sacrifices. Seems that this location was somehow so special, so sacred, and also being a place of volcanoes, was a zone like active in terms of earthquakes all the time. Volcanoes there, we have some active volcanoes. We have, for example, Misty right in front of the city of Arequipa, which is an active volcano. And we have the Sabancaya volcano, uh, which is active. No? And also Sabancaya, and well, this, say, this part I would like to mention also related with the history of the Incas is very, very much connected, intertwined, because the picture you're seeing belongs to the mummy Juanita. Juanita is the name of this mummy, and Mummy Juanita was well discovered in the Nevado or mountain, which actually is also a dormant volcano, Ampato. So, who was Juanita, first of all, before I tell you where it was discovered? So Juanita lived in the 15th century, mid 15th century. She was around 15 years old when she was chosen to be part um, of ceremony that probably she knew during all her life at some point she would partake of. No? And this we know clearly thanks to the investigations, the studies, also what archaeologists can also find nowadays, and especially in terms, for example, of understanding the let's say the chemicals that you can find in the hair, like that give you also an idea of the diet of the person. So we know that this girl was chosen since pretty much birth to at least be fully dedicated to the call to the sun. Okay, and probably because she was very beautiful, probably she was skillful, or just something that happened when she was even in the tummy of her mom, in the let's say as a baby inside her mom, that made her also be destined to this future. And how we know that is because when she was discovered later, well, her umbilical cord was also in her hand. Okay, so seems that the family kept her umbilical cord for this moment of the sacrifice. So well, we know that according to the studies in the hair also, that well, her diet was like very, very good. She was in excellent health, in excellent condition. Her bones, her teeth, like excellent, everything excellent. And but that about a year before she died, her diet changed from being mainly potatoes and vegetables and some like cereals that we have, Andean cereals that we have, to also have lots of corn, which in the pre-Hispanic times, corn was a very important product. Like I don't know if caviar, but something like that. Like there were corns that were just reserved for the elite, and also animal protein. So it could be llama, could be guinea pig. So the people in the Andes, the common people in the Andes, they didn't eat like that much of animal protein. So, and well, seems that 1 year before she started to be prepared for her like end, which was, well, as a sacrifice. And these sacrifices were called capacochas, capacocha. There was the sacrifice of children done during the Incan times. And probably the sacrifice of this lady was done after the eruption of the Sabancaya volcano. Also, Sabancaya volcano erupted, and the Incas believed that that was the gods that were angry with them, no, that they needed to do something to, to ease the god of the volcano, and that's why they decided to take this girl up to the next mountain, which is right in front of it, Ampato. Okay, and here we can see, well, the moment of the discovery, it happened on September the 8th, 1995. There were two archaeologists, a team of two archaeologists. Well, we have Johann Reinhardt and Miguel Zárate. Miguel Zárate, Peruvian, of course, representative of Peru there. And they, well, decided to ascend, to Ampato. They also are archaeologists, no? So why they decided to ascend in that year? Like previous to their ascent, also the Sabancaya exploded again. Oh, there was an explosion, and the temperatures also on the top were so high that the mountain right next, which was, well, the Ampato, well, there were some, like, let's say the snow up there started to melt. So they were specialists in finding mummies on top of mountains. So because, well, this tradition of the capacocha was well known, even the Spaniards knew about that. No? So, well, they went up to the mountain, and they were very, very lucky enough to find, well, this girl also. She was out of her burial site. She was covered in permafrost for like almost 500 years. And because of the explosion, there was also some movements, earth movements, that made her fall. And that's why her face looks like deteriorated, because she had several days exposed to the sun. So that's why her face is in that situation. But probably, like, when she was inside, like for these 500 years she was in there, like her skin, she was a perfect mummy. It was just for that exposure that, well, this happened. So, well, the mummy in this moment is in Arequipa, very close to the main square, about 1 block away from the main square of Arequipa. You can visit the mummy. You can see the mummy. She's in a pressurized chamber, like at a temperature of, so far I remember, 10 degrees below zero. So very, very cold. And in a chamber where there's no oxygen inside, trying to replicate the conditions of, well, the mountain. So you can visit this museum. This is the Museum of Santuarios Andinos. Just don't go on Monday, please, because Mondays they are closed. And also, about a month after the discovery of the mumia Juanita the mummy, well, Johann Reinhardt went back to the mountain, and he discovered two more children there. And then later on, this team of archaeologists returned, and they found 13 more in total. So all of these children and these mummies are in this museum. But the star, of course, is Juanita, who is in excellent preservation conditions. So, and sorry, I think I stopped sharing. Let me just go back one. And by the way, let me know if you are seeing everything. Like, also, please help me with a like thumbs up. After, well, the end of this event, I will be posting this video open to anyone who wants to see it for limited time, and then after is going to our library on Patreon. So please enjoy it, comment it, and well, I hope you are seeing yet the images. So the idea is that you were able to see images all the way until this moment, and not just me. So, well, and we come to the end also of this, let's say, chronology. And of course, we have to end with the arrival of the conquistadors to Arequipa. No? So it was in times also of Conquistador Pizarro. Ah, gracias, Natalie. Thank you. It really helps me to know if you are seeing those pictures. Natalie knows that sometimes I'm talking and I'm explaining pictures, and I don't know why YouTube disconnects the images from one moment to another. So that's why I try to make sure you are seeing those. So, well, Arequipa's foundation, like official foundation as a city, because we don't know if it was founded before by Incas, by any other society that existed and lived in this part of the country. But well, the Spaniards, as typically done by then, because the Incas didn't really founded cities. We don't know of any Incan foundation of a city. What they did was just sending like communities of what we call mitimaes, which were families introduced into these territories, into new territories, like a seed. Let's say the Incas left a seed to have certain influence in the other communities that were living around. But there was no like Incan foundation or the construction of a temple of the sun the day the Inca came. No, 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 nothing like that. No, even according to the legend of Huayna Capac, 3,000 Incan families were moved here. Very unlikely because there were already indigenous people living here. The land was already taken. No? So, well, the foundation of Arequipa happened on the year 1540, and the name given to Arequipa was Villa Hermosa de Nuestra Señora de la Asunta. Okay, it's a very long name, so that's why people from Arequipa don't use it anymore. It's way too long. Villa Hermosa, that refers to beautiful village, Villa Hermosa de Nuestra Señora de la Asunta, of Our Lady of Asunta. Usually, like the cities were named after like names of Virgin Mary, or Jesus Christ, or a city from Spain. Also, that's why in Latin America we have so many cities that are named after Spanish cities. Like for example, here Trujillo. There's a Trujillo in Spain, and we have a Trujillo here, no? So Cordoba and so many other cities that we have here in Peru, well, and in Latin America also. So, well, and the Spaniards came and, well, they started to, of course, build their homes, build their constructions. The material that was more available in the valley was sillar, a material that probably was used by, in some form, by the societies of that time. But we don't have any evidences of pre-Hispanic architecture made on sillar. So pretty much was exclusively used by the Spaniards. Sillar is a white stone that, according to some specialists, is the reason why Arequipa is named as the White City. But also another reason could be because of the numerous amount of Spaniards who came to this location after the conquest of this territory. This city was mainly Spanish. And that's probably the reason why it's called White City, because of the fair skinned people who moved towards this direction. But for this part, also for the foundation of Arequipa, for the architecture in Arequipa, colonial architecture, churches, houses, and more, well, I hope to see you tomorrow, because tomorrow we have another meeting, same time also. The meeting is already posted here on YouTube. So you are all welcome. And we will be seeing some famous touristic landmarks in Arequipa, in the city of Arequipa, and also, according to time, in other locations near the city of Arequipa. See? So, well, my dear amigos, thank you so much. Now we will stop this projection, and I hope you enjoy it. Also, once again, if you wish to support this project of mine, there is a way to do it. Let me also post here, just in case if you don't know, because up is pinned my PayPal if you wish to do any donation, which is highly, highly appreciated. But also, if you wish to subscribe to my Patreon, that would be lovely. As I said before, the tiers are many, and I offer really the same to anyone who wants to support, like from $2 monthly, $5 monthly, $10 monthly, and also $20 monthly. You can become my sponsors, and also I'll give you free access, constant access to all of my material. And I will be doing lots of things very soon. I'll talk about the history of the pre-Hispanic mummies, history of Peruvian food, the history of Pope Leon XIV, Leo the 14th. Oh, the Peruvian Pope. Did you know that he's also Peruvian? Well, I'll tell you his history. Well, the unknown districts of Lima. And some of them are a little bit spicy. They are not really like ready for visitors. Like history of music and celebration in Peru, and also Spanish classes. Well, so thanks to Natalie. Muchas gracias, amigos. And one last thing, and this is out of my, let's say, out of my event. But if you wish to see more events like this one, I participate on several Facebook groups that also offer access to tours happening all over the world every day. I have wonderful colleagues that I met during the world pandemic, and here on the chat, I'm posting the links to those Facebook groups. So this is just if you really enjoy virtual traveling. And I mean, like really daily, they are doing tours around the world. And most of them are free access, just tip supported. So well, enjoy well your travels, your virtual travels, and see you. I hope tomorrow. I hope tomorrow. Well, lots of love and hugs from Lima, and well, see you next time. If you can tomorrow, see you next time. See? Bye bye. Ciao, ciao, amigos. Gracias. Natalie says yes. Ah, yes. Oh, yes, amiga. Well, maybe next time I hope Annette can come. Adios. Cuídate. Ciao. Hasta pronto. See you soon.